Ooh, okay, now I should be live. Oops. Small false start. My YouTube stream health is excellent, apparently. That is so nice. Okay, so this is the debut co-working stream. Oops, you saw my mouse there for a sec. For YouTube. I've done these a ton before on Twitch, although it has been a while. This is my first time not using Twitch Studio Beta, whose death I did not notice in my hiatus. But rest in peace, Twitch Studio Beta. You really were very easy to use. Now I'm using Prism, which is not my favorite, most intuitive thing, but it is okay, I think. I can add a chat source for Twitch. What the hell am I? Okay. I'm doing my best. I think it's working. So we're just going to be gabbing, chatting. It's not going to be long in comparison to if you've been to previous Twitch streams. For co-working, you'll know that I have a very poor sense of time, typically, if I just let myself vibe. I literally opened my phone to do something. I feel like it was something stream related. Don't remember what it was. I'm holding phone, my memory is blank. Anyway. Well, oh my god, to tell people that I'm that happens. Okay, that is also, if I remember correctly, something that happened almost every single time that I used to do these streams. So I'm just going to be co-working. You'll hear probably the mild tippy-tapping of the keyboard. Although this is an okay mic, so maybe you won't. But maybe that's why you will. I don't know. Please let me know if for some reason you hear the music that I have playing on my headphones. It says that it is not capturing it, but I am very paranoid and afraid that it is. Probably should have just listened to it on my phone instead. Ooh, error. Not receiving enough video to guarantee smooth streaming. Well, we're gonna dive through this a little bit. It's not receiving enough video. What does that mean? Well, while I move and move and move, we're gonna see some stuff. What we're gonna be working on today is some of the event tables. Oh Lord, okay. Let's see what this thing looks. Please use a different keyframe rate. Okay, I will do that. What the fuck keyframe rate am I supposed to be using? Thank you, go away. Go, oh my god, every pop-up you could possibly have. Go away. Go away. Go, oh my god, why is this window so many? Anyway, this feels also very on brand. Currently the keyframe rate. Oh, it's because I'm screen sharing. Okay, well, Twitch doesn't have that problem, YouTube. Poor my ass. Why would it even lag? I'm just typing. The current keyframe rate is 8.3 seconds. Okay, well, which one do you want me to pick? Then at least let me pick something. Okay. We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. Stream latency, normal. 360 video. Jesus, that sounds like a fucking nightmare. Okay, well, it says please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Currently, keyframes are 8 seconds. I'm like, girl, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, here's the thing. Historically, you guys in chat have been big helps with this, so I will simply wait. Because I already opened the widget, and it's not actually giving me anything that I can click or use. It just goes error, and I'm like, okay, well, how do you fix it? Then I choose a different frame rate. I'm like, okay, where do I do that? Nowhere. Great. Absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna close that widget, and we're just gonna do our best. Because it is streaming, it just says quote unquote poor. But since it's just, that doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me. Oh. Also, you might hear some ASMR in the background of in between when I'm thinking of something or something. I might have my mandarin orange snack or yawn. I do tend to yawn a lot. That's like a medical thing though. I'm fine. It's just something that happens a lot. hopefully with more treatment, by the way, as I will be continuing in the next year, maybe that will even go away. It would be cool. I've been yawning a lot for like forever, and it would be really nice to be able to like just rest and talk and listen and not have people think that I'm getting bored when I'm just breathing. So what we're doing now is, which I'll probably explain several times throughout the stream as people also like might come in, which I'm honestly not sure what kind of good time or not good time this is, because it's 5:30 in the morning for me, which is a very normal time for me to be up currently. Very happy about that, actually. But I am in Europe, so for the Americans, I think it is at the latest like 11:30 p.m., which I never sent that going live tweet, my bad. I got distracted by fixing the stream, and then I got distracted right now by my mandarin orange. That's how it'll go. Live now on Twitch and YouTube. Oops, be better if I spelled YouTube correctly. That would also really help visibility, I think. So we're going to be going through, I won't show you guys obviously the whole game, but this is a part where I just have a lot of like writing, like straight writing to do, not mechanics design. That one is, mechanics design for this is mostly done. Hi, welcome. Mechanics design for this is mostly done. Please do tell me if somehow you can hear my music. I'm getting paranoid and I'm just like about to turn it off, but I don't want to sit here in total silence. I mean, I'm gabbing, but like, you know, in my ears, silence. Plus, like, I have like curated kind of a playlist for this, but I also don't want to lose my VOD in case it's like somehow capturing. I've never used this streaming software before. It says that it shouldn't be capturing, but I don't know. I don't trust it. Oh. Yeah, people can find my stuff. I don't think they need to. I don't need to link it or whatever this time. On the other hand, if you do hear the music, I hope you like it. But I do hope you tell me, because please, I don't want to get shut down. Maybe I just have to bite the bullet. I'll bite the bullet for now. Maybe it's something we'll experiment with on a different stream. Silence. I have to post on Blue Sky, which is the main social media that I'm on now, because Twitter is on some bullshit. We won't go into it. I just want to let everybody know. Live on Twitch and YouTube. I definitely look forward to uploading this as a VOD, which I think on YouTube it'll automatically say. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. And then I've forgotten if I'm cutest patoot or no, I'm just cutest patoot on both. Tight. Post with the little GIF. Boom. Tight. Nice. Mandarin orange time. Okay, so trying to come up with, this is that thing where I don't know if anybody saw it, but I had posted that I was having trouble with a mechanic, and I just about barely stopped myself from talking with orange in my mouth. And the way that I solved it, I was like, oh my god, wait, I came up with something that's like so much better and so much cooler, way more fitting of what I'd like to achieve. And the solution requires me to write 12 new event tables. So that's what we're doing. I already filled out quite a bit of them, but I need to actually fill out 12 full event tables of 12 events each. So I need 12 by 12 events. Now you'll notice on the screen some of them say run, that's a mechanic. I still need to fill those out with specifics as well. And this is getting a lot more like haunted than Masked Killer, which it's still both. Also, yeah, you're not like seeing things that's weird. I have my mouse cursor set really big so that I can see it properly without my glasses. I can see it when it's little too, it's just harder. So we've got basement, boiler room, wine cellar, torture chamber, dining room. You know, all the things a normal house has. Living room, kitchen, indoor pool, because I just thought it'd be really, I mean, as you can see, I was very inspired by the concept of indoor pool in a horror house. We've got guest bedroom. We've got office, main bedroom, storage space, and crawl space. So that's what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I thought we would start at the beginning. I'll noodle my way through this. It's a very good mandarin orange. I don't think it has any seeds. I don't mean to speak too soon, but I don't think it does. Nice. Well, this is technically my YouTube debut for streams. I mean, not my YouTube debut, I've been on YouTube, but like for live streaming. Let's view it more as a soft opening. I do like that in this, allegedly, I have access to both of my chats at the same time. That's pretty cool. I appreciate that. Of course, anyone lurking is also free to lurk. Never feel any pressure to have to be in the chat if you don't want to be, or you don't have the time, or you don't feel like it right now. These are all fine. I can entertain myself. Don't worry. Really hope nobody has an ick from hearing me eat this mandarin orange. I hope you can't hear it too much. Boiler room, okay. This game is inspired by Halloween Resurrection. And this actually specifically is an event that is more directly inspired by it because it actually happens in the movie. Well, it happens with a twist in the movie, but there's no twist in this one. It's just some straight skeletons and bodies. Where do they come from? None of my business. It's a haunted fucking house. Honestly, the house might have just eaten them. Who is to say? Now, these don't have to vary in intensity in any kind of direction. I just need 12 of them. Also, the wine cellar, the concept of it and everything was inspired by the 1956 fall of the House of Usher with Vincent Price, because their wine cellar is also kind of how you get to the family crypt, which is in there, and there's like a lot of overlap between the two spaces, and I thought that was really creepy and gross. And initially when I wrote that, it said wine caskets because I got mixed up and I thought cask isn't a real word. Must be casket. So I wrote casket and then I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's cask. It's just kind of a weird, kind of difficult word to say for some reason for me. So in Run, I'm trying to figure out exactly something that would happen in the basement where you would need to stop, like in the boiler room, where you would need to stop. Oh, you know what? I've heard that many people, I think it's because of that movie, and now I feel like I'm making the title up. It's not Brave Little Toaster. Is it Brave Little Toast? No, that feels like that's like what people call it when they're like, do you remember that movie? It was like about a brave little toaster. I don't feel like that's what the movie's actually called. I'm just gonna put Brave. Oh, it is called The Brave Little Toaster. Anyway, I was kind of obsessed with that movie as a little kid. Sometimes we would rent it from the Blockbuster, but to me this was like my first horror movie. I'm autistic, and I have always, especially as a kid, very much kind of, and I will say suffered, because it is very distressing sometimes from like immediately emotionally bonding with and personifying like inanimate objects. It can get it like, especially when I was little, like it was kind of a problem. Like it was not fantastic. It caused a lot of stress for me. And so watching this particular video, well, I was obsessed with the animation, and I don't know, there was something about it that like I just wanted to like kind of look at a lot. It was probably the art style and maybe the music, but I don't remember the music at all. And I think it just kind of spoke to me because I was like, yes, this is what I think their vibe is. You know, this is what I think is happening. But then there's that, like, I think it's like a boiler or like furnace or something in like the boiler room in the basement. And it's so scary. And I think he's just like old and like suffering, which like is like really distressing. But like that scared me so bad that like I used to cry. I mean, again, I was like 3 or 4 years old, right, watching this movie. But that kind of like kind of made the whole, because I would spend the whole rewatch of the movie dreading that scene and getting like really like tense and stuff about it. And then like when it happened, I would just like bawl my eyes out. Why anybody let me rent that movie more than once is beyond me. If that's the reaction that I was having every time. But you know, C'est La Vie, you had to contend with what Blockbuster had in stock, and I wouldn't trade the experience. So, nor would I trade. Hi, welcome. So sorry for you to join while I'm like literally mid-yawn. My B. We are writing. But I wouldn't trade the experience, and I wouldn't trade supporting my local Blockbuster back then. Although I don't know how much it was me supporting it as much as it's my parents. I don't think my 3-year-old bank account was doing anything. Let's see. So I was kind of thinking about that right now because I was thinking it was so scary. It was so scary. That furnace to me. And this is a house that is kind of alive. Not in a monster house way. In a like house on haunted hill way. And a little bit like in a Hill House way, but more House on Haunted Hill than Hill House. And technically, in the original House on Haunted Hill, it's from the 50s. The house itself, not actually super haunted. But I mean, unfortunately, the remake. From the 2000s, where the house is really fucking haunted. Like, really fucking haunted. Which honestly, I appreciated that about the remake, but I could probably talk about that at length. But I think kind of the spirit of that kind of like way that a house can be haunted, where the house is like evil, I feel like that's the vibe here. And I kind of was remembering that scary like boiler furnace thing, and I'm trying to think of a way to write that. This is where you find out that every time I write temperature, I'm like, boy, I hope I know how to write temperature. Like spell it. I do, thank God. These areas, like the run sections, are typically like, unless they're like very to the point, mostly they have like the longest bits of like writing. The font for this used to be like 4 points bigger than it is now, and I've had to uniformly make it quite a lot smaller, although it is still like quite sizable given the relationship to page. You know, for a PDF, but it's a lot smaller than it was originally, but honestly I think it makes it look a little bit more serious, so it's fine. This is 23 pages currently, this game book. I don't anticipate it growing much more, but it could end up being like 24 or 25 depending. Pop open. Okay, we're staying in present tense. Temperature is climbing. Suddenly near unbearable levels. See the... Is it a furnace or a boiler? Is it the same? Is that the same thing? I'm going to Google it real quick. Furnace versus boiler. Okay. As I did call it a boiler room. I'm not going to like say you just have a furnace in your boiler room. Oh. Duh. Okay. Well, okay. So in case anybody didn't know, furnaces heat air and distribute heated air throughout the house. Boilers heat water. That seems kind of obvious now. That seems. That seems kind of obvious. They're probably both potentially in the same area. There's pictures of them, which I appreciate. Steam is distributed via pipes to steam radiators, and hot water can be distributed via baseboard radiators or radiant floor systems, or can heat air via a coil. Okay, well, that's cool. Damn, furnace has such a good, like, mouthfeel for horror. I have to say the boiler comes to life. Well, I guess it could still be both, because we are in the basement. They're both definitely in the basement in this picture. So it's not like just because there's a furnace there that you can't also have a boiler. Hi, welcome. So it should be fine. So I think, let's see, does the furnace come to life and try to eat you, or does the boiler come? I think it could be, no, I think we're going to do the furnace comes to life and tries to eat you, and a separate event could be something with the boiler. I'm going to write that down real quick so that I don't. I'm just going to write boiler. I do this thing where I leave myself little notes, and they're like in 10 minutes when my mind has reset or whatever the fuck, like they are indecipherable. You see the furnace. Tear open. I don't tear open. Split open, maybe. More like a seam ripping kind of thing. Being into indie film and short film and stuff and writing like games is so hard sometimes because I want you to see what I'm seeing, which means that I feel like I have to use like very specific phrasings to make sure that it like really communicates what I see, even though whatever you see is also fine when you're playing a TTRPG, like whatever you see, theater of the mind is fantastic. If you're scared, you're scared. If you're in it, you're excited. You're in it, you're excited. It doesn't really matter so much that it's like not like my vision. I don't really care about that. It's more that I'm like, this vision is really scary, really cool, and I want you to be able to experience it. So it's my job to make sure that I try to communicate it more. The furnace splits open as if now staring at you with a gaping maw. Ugh. Disgusting. Oh my god, it'd be great if I actually typed all the words that I said. Gaping maw, but no eyes. I don't think I'm gonna give it eyes, because I don't want it to be cartoony. Also, I'm not gonna lie, something staring at you without eyes way scarier than something staring at you with eyes. I feel, I don't know. Staring at you with a gaping maw. Pipes creaking as it breaks loose. Oh, as they unnaturally extend. Okay, it's coming together as they unnaturally extend. Oh my god, the vision that I have of these pipes unnaturally extending, I was like, what does this remind me of, this visual? Because they're extending, they're multiplying, is kind of like the feeling they're boiling hot and they're gonna cage you in, they're gonna, I don't know, stop you from leaving so it can eat you. And then I was thinking, like, what does that remind me of, these pipes growing? It reminds me of that like old that old Windows screensaver with the pipe that you would follow. Oh my god, well that's not scary. I guess it could be. Scary. Fun fact, I was talking to my best friend in the whole world, who does not like games. Whose best friend is a game designer, me. But who does not like games. Will still play and listen to, play my games and listen to it. And the highest compliment I can ever get is him being like, oh, this is really cool. So that's nice. And he's played some of my games. He's played some of my games on camera. God bless him. But he's so not into games that we were talking about, kind of talking about it a little bit because it's just part of my work. So it happens a lot. And he was like, oh, I think I do remember a video game that I played as a kid that I really liked. And I was like, oh, what was it? And he was like, oh, I can't remember what it was called. But there was this maze. And then he sat for a second, he's remembering, and then he was like, I think I mean watching the screensaver, like the maze screensaver for Windows. That's what I meant. That was my favorite video game as a kid. That was a video game that I liked. That shit was so funny to me. I think about that all the time. All the time. It makes me very happy. Let's see. Pipes creaking as they unnaturally extend, seeming almost to multiply. I don't usually speak out loud while I'm typing, by the way. Like, I that's why I'm, like, struggling sometimes. I'm like, I said the word, I don't have to type it, and then, like, I type and I miss a word or something. I don't usually do that, but I think it would be nice for the stream, especially because I have no idea what the picture quality is necessarily like, because it's my first time using this particular streaming software, Prism. Prism Become Easier to Use challenge. It's relatively, once you get a little bit into it, it's a little bit more intuitive, but it's not nearly as intuitive as I'm used to, so. But I would rather die currently than use OBS. Not because there's anything inherently wrong with OBS, but so much as because it is very difficult somehow for me to use, and I, like, do not get it, and I, like, really struggle with it. And unfortunately, Twitch Studio Beta is no longer in source, but that's actually okay, because I'm pretty sure I couldn't stream to YouTube from that, so, you know, sometimes it's just better to grow, even if you didn't choose to. Let's see, something almost to multiply. Caging you in. You can tell that I also speak German because my sentences are 8,000 miles long, but all grammatically correct. You can put that many commas in English. It's just severely frowned upon. I, however, don't care. So, because in the end, you read it and it works. Okay, it works. At least I hope it does. It has so far. I haven't had any complaints. I am not averse to receiving complaints as long as they are actually productive, or, like, you know, polite notes. Staring at you with a gaping maw, creaking as they unnaturally sensing almost to multiply. Oop. As it begins to descend upon you. Great. And that has to be bold because it's a mechanic. Boom. Tight. Oh, we still need thing number 1. Okay, so the temperature is climbing to suddenly near unbearable levels, and you see the furnace split open. As if now staring at you with a gaping maw, pipes creaking as they unnaturally extend, seeming almost to multiply. Near unbearable levels, creaking as they unnaturally extend, seeming almost to multiply, caging you in slowly as the furnace begins to descend upon you. Run. Okay, great. I'm actually really happy with that one. Also, wait, I have to edit something. Ooh, you're not seeing this. I have to change. You won't see it right now. It's just that I had misquoted Busta Rhymes, and I realized when because I rewatched yesterday. Was it yesterday? No. Maybe 2 days ago. I rewatched for the billionth time Halloween Resurrection. Nope, it's not trick and treat. Trick or treat, motherfucker. There we go. That is a quote from Busta Rhymes' character in Halloween Resurrection. And I had originally, for some reason, misremembered it as being Happy Halloween, motherfucker, which honestly, he could, plausibly he could have said it's not far from trick or treat, motherfucker, but I want it to be correct. Because it's like a little thing, a little tagline that I put at the back cover of the game book. It's the design of the front cover, which is, I've already posted it, so it's not a secret. It's this. It says a Dark Stormy Broadcast at the top, but you can't see because I've purposefully cut off, so that you can't see the whole thing at once all the time. Although I guess briefly I will show you. Go up. Fine. Okay, it won't go up. Whatever. I'm gonna go back. Okay, yeah, that's a good size. Which is kind of these things that I made. So kind of social media-y, stream notification-y. So it looks like that, but at the bottom in big text in the same font that we have throughout the game, it said Happy Halloween, motherfucker, and then I was like, no, you gotta fix it. And then it says Trick or Treat, motherfucker. Because this game does take place Halloween night. If anybody's not familiar with the concept of this game, I've talked about it a bit. I've talked about it on my podcast, Brown Noise, and I've talked about it a bit on socials and on my YouTube community and stuff. But the premise of this game is that for a life-changing amount of money, you agree. Hi. Oh my God, it's my Ko-fi stream bot. I did not realize that I had that active. I also don't know. I think that link should work. Yes. Oh my God, how nice. I didn't know I had that active and still. That's cool. It probably means that it's set on my Ko-fi that I'm live. That's practical because I forgot to do that. So the premise is that you get offered suddenly from a mysterious source an absolute life-changing amount of money to spend a night, because you're a streamer, YouTuber. You get offered this money to spend a night in what is allegedly, there'll be like pages of like lore and stuff too, which I'm really excited about like writing and building out, but I'm not going to do that one on stream. Of this haunted house, the masked killer who has, well, to be fair, obviously in the news, people aren't going to say house killed 20 people. They're going to be like masked killer in haunted house, in creepy old house, whatever, killed, whatever. So it's a little bit like masked killer. It's a little, and there is a masked killer. Is he alive? Is he not alive? Who's to say? But also the house is very much evil, and the house wants to like eat you and consume your soul. So that's also very much part of it. But you don't technically know that stuff is real when you accept it. You just accept it. And you have in the character creator also, you get to choose like your motivation. You can roll your motivation for like, why did you accept this? What kind of streams and stuff do you do normally? Things that would inspire you how to do it. So the premise is that while you're playing this game, you are technically holding your phone in your hand and live streaming the entire thing alone in this house. And you have to last until dawn to get this money. I have 3 lengths of gameplay currently, which will be counted by amounts of turns, which the turns are very solidly defined in the mechanics and the rules. So it'll be like, I think I put it like 6 turns, 9 turns, 12 turns. And it's like, depending on like how late it is when you, like in the evening before when you arrive at the house. So you can choose if you want to play like, like you get there at like 10 p.m. and you have to last until dawn is obviously a lot faster than if you get there at like fucking 6 p.m. You have to like this, you experience the sun setting and all that stuff. So that'll depend on like you and the gameplay like length that you would like to have. Which is why now we're going through all of the rooms of the haunted house, because I wanted it. So it's a solo game. It's a solo TTRPG. I wanted it to have replayability, and I wanted it to have. So a very cool mechanic that I shared also online is that you don't get to just choose what room you go into. You roll what room you get, because the house is sentient and there's a heavy supernatural element. And it is changing up behind you and in front of you at all times. So like at first, you roll, you're in the foyer, you roll, you go to, what it tells you to go to the normal way. If it's the upstairs office, you go up the stairs into, you peek through, you think it's the office, you go in the office, the door closes behind you. Every room you go in, the door closes behind you. There's nothing you can do about that. But say you go into the upstairs office, then you roll the next dice. It says boiler room. You don't necessarily need, right? Literally, but you're already in it. You're a life-changing amount of money. I will, because it's you, I will share a little bit maybe of some of the motivations if I remember where in the book that they are. I also have these really cool things that I thank everybody for their help also already on on socials. I have these little fake Twitch text boxes where I have written like little like chat interactions, because chat interactions are actually a mechanic in this game, which I think is really fun. But I wrote like some little like flavor text ones, and I've been using the ats that everybody has supplied me online, which I really, really appreciate. This one was inspired. This one says, was anyone not expecting to see streamer name turn into the Terminator? And that's because when I tested this game, which I added here as a little like smaller text than the rest of the text note, is when I tested this game for the run mechanic, you have to roll 5 times really fast. And depending on how many successes you get, will depend on like if you die or what you have to sacrifice in order to get away. Like in these like sessions where like the killer or the house is trying like really up your ass, is actively, you are in danger, it's trying to kill you. And I I tested it and I rolled 5 successes. Like, I rolled 4 critical successes and 1 like straight success. And I was like, wow, it literally could not have gone any better. And I was so in it. And I was so in the, like, you know, the role playing and stuff that I out loud laughed and said, fuck you, bitch, to the killer. I was like, wow, I just turned into like the Terminator and I am running and nothing can hit me. Nothing can stop me. And I just get out and I'm done. And I didn't get any. I didn't get hurt. I didn't have to sacrifice any items. Nothing. So that shit was really funny to me, and that's how I had the idea for like, well, if the chat was watching, I feel like somebody would be like, was anybody else not expecting them to turn into the fucking Terminator? What the fuck was that? So we've got some cool items, we've got some cool stuff. So this is the character creator, which I really love because I feel like these things will really inform a character, and there's so many options. I feel like it also gives it like really good replayability as well. Literally nothing wrong with that. So some of the motivations, you can roll, you can choose, it's up to you. I prefer rolling because I think it's kind of like fun to see what kind of character just kind of Frankensteins itself from the rolls. But some motivations are like, you have no idea how boring my life is right now, because sometimes, honestly, I wanted to account for the type of people that would just do this shit because they're like, oh my god, for the plot, you know? And I'm like, girl, for the plot? No. For money? Yeah. For the plot? Absolutely not. You're not getting me in a haunted house. I don't even really like to do the fake ones. I've done them. I'll do them, but like only with like a big group of friends, and I scream the whole time, and I don't love them. And I would rather not. I don't fuck with that shit. I'm not trying to catch a ghost. I don't fuck with real haunted houses. I don't even fuck with abandoned houses because I'm like, could be haunted. I don't fucking know, could be haunted. Sometimes I will say this, the plot can go fuck itself. Amen. Yes, literally, the plot can go fuck itself. Absolutely not. I get, this is maybe a me thing. I don't think this is super common, but I feel like if you think about it, you will understand. And I'm sorry if I accidentally give you something to have the ick about. But, those like make mansions, like the celebrity houses with the like I mean Beyonce's house, like not Beyonce herself specifically, but I mean like that level of celebrity house where it's like this massive thing from this like uber rich motherfuckers. God knows the parties they throw in that shit. The ones where the house is so big it looks unlivable, and you kind of think maybe it's like a tax thing. Or like you know, like a tax evasion thing or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know the life of the uber rich in detail, but I know enough to be like, something ain't right. Those houses scare me so bad because I just think about like all of the absolutely like worst, awful shit we've ever heard happen behind closed doors at celebrity parties and what they're actually involved in, and that this is the place where these things go down. And a lot of the premises of haunted houses is like, for example, with the 2000s remake of House on Haunted Hill, is the premise is the house is full of darkness and the house is evil because of the horrible, awful things that happened in that house, you know, because of the torture and the lost souls, all that shit. And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, well, I just think that would make these houses kind of haunted to me, and so they scare me. The big celeb houses, I would absolutely never go into a celebrity's house like that. Absolutely not. Not, and I wouldn't. First of all, you have to drive 20 minutes up the driveway. I'm not going because now we're too secluded. I don't feel safe. I'm not going. But this is a game, so in this game, I would apparently go into a haunted house for a life changing. To be fair, no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to say, like, if a life-changing amount of money would make me go into a haunted house. It certainly wouldn't make me spend the night there. I don't know. I'm Mexican. I have you know, an interesting cultural relationship with death, but I'm not trying to be buddy. No, literally. We don't know them like that. We don't have to go. But I also thought realistically, some people, like the drowning and student debt thing, fuck my life, is so, I feel so real that I feel like people would be like, I'll spend a night in a haunted house. I don't give a fuck. Because you also you might come into this, you might not believe in ghosts. You know? You might not believe in ghosts, your character, at first. You're gonna. You're really gonna. But, like, you know, so you might take the money and be like, easy money, ridiculous prompt, lucky me. You know? There's, like, medical debt. You fucked shit up too much in that city. You gotta go and you need the money to, like, start over. You're tired of being a starving artist or starving streamer or whatever you want to eat. Like, I relate to that. I get that. And then this one was more funny, like unimaginable gashapon debt. which I looked up and is actually a thing because some places really treat it like straight up like gambling. And there's like serious money involved, which I did not know would be something that could happen to you. But then I thought about it and I was like, of course it is. It's any form of like luck game can become a form of gambling. And then if there is gambling, there is debt. That is simply how that goes. So it makes total sense to me now. But I did it as a joke and then I looked it up. And I was like, oh, that's like a real thing. I will include it in the game then. Okay, oh my god, what else can happen to us in the boiler room? So we've got the big run event that has to happen like once per area, which I think is really cool, is if you survive it and you end up, because what can happen is you end up rolling the same room. So you can leave the boiler room, like you just barely make it out, you're sweating, maybe you barely, like literally barely make it out, you know, like you've lost all your items, you're sweating, you're scared, you're terrified, you made it out by the skin of your teeth. You go through the open door and you end up in the boiler room again because this house is evil. I think that'd be so fun. And imagine you roll for another event and you get the run event again. Like you're just gonna be like, why the fuck is this happening to me? And like that like your reactions, the way that this game is built, your reactions to these things like can really affect the way that you roll, because you get to make a choice before you roll that'll affect your stats every time you roll like an action or you have to roll in a run scenario. So I think I'm really proud of the way that I think so far I've been able to incorporate human emotion and reaction and tension into game mechanics and game consequences. So I'm really hyped about that one. Literally, what if you keep ending up in the boiler? Honestly, I'm sure statistically, as unlikely as it technically is, it could absolutely happen that somebody's in the boiler room like 3-4 times in a row and they're just like, what if I lose my mind? Which honestly is a thing that can happen in the game. Because like you want to make it till dawn without maxing out either of your two stats that you have, and you max them out by failing in the other stat. You get another point in a stat on the little Screamer Smarts chart. You get a point for every time you critically fail in the other one. So if you critically fail something in Smarts, you get a screen point. If you get all 10 screen points, you have lost yourself to the house. You will never come out. I have a whole like write up about like what happens to you. On the other hand, you Smarts too hard to the sun, like too close to the sun, and you have become boring. Like boring is like the house spits you out and you don't get the money because you didn't finish it. The house didn't let you stay long enough, you know, because it was like, my God, there is no soul to be sucked from this person. You know, and then you're boring, nobody's watching you, nobody's watching your stream, and then you don't get the money, you lose. So what you want to do is keep it from maxing out on either stat while surviving this house till dawn, which is the end of the set amount of turns that you agreed to do in the beginning, depending on the play length that you wanted. I love this game so much. This game feels so special to me. Like it feels like a very special one. It feels different from all the ones that I've done before. I don't want to say better. I think it's because I've just, you know, it's kind of like the most recent thing you do is technically the thing you do at the highest peak of your knowledge and skills in that area. And I really feel like that is how this game feels to me. It's kind of a little bit like the feeling. Yeah, it's solo. It's a solo game, so you can play it whenever you want by yourself. Also because I was thinking also about like APs. So like I would really love, and I will definitely do like a low budget like AP where like, or well, realistically it's a no budget AP where I'm, you know, pretending to stream from my phone camera or from like, you know, from here, testing the game out, and I'll post that, where I like play it as if I am, you know, the character, and I try to keep in character as much as possible. What I'd really love is to eventually do an AP that has like, I don't know, inherently has budget because it has more immersion, where I have another solo AP, by the way, planned to work very similarly, not like in a horror way, but similarly in a way where I play the game by myself. Well, I still film it. I play it by myself. I write out what happens. I act out what happens. You know, like I keep record of the whole like solo playthrough. And then based on that, I create an AP where you don't see the dice stuff in between. It basically, you watch it like unfold like a movie. And then like depending on like how it's released, like if it's just like one shot, like this one would probably be like a short, like this would probably be like a feature length, like one shot or one release. And then I would release a like kind of like a documentary, like the making of, where I would actually release a like play footage. And then I have another one planned that I can't do yet because I genuinely need to build set pieces, like little set pieces for it, because I want it to look a certain way, and also I need like costume and stuff. So there's another one that I have planned for the game Bust Blockers, which is designed by Starshine Scribbles, which I fell in love with that game when I saw it. It's also a solo game where you basically are like the assistant manager, functioning manager of the last, like basically like, you know, Blockbuster, like the last like video rental place of this like nostalgic chain, and you are trying to keep it alive. And I had a lot of ideas for like my character, my motivations and stuff, and I would love to kind of have that game. I was kind of inspired a little bit by having watched like the Lizzie Bennet Diaries back in the 2010s, late 2010s. I was a bit late to the party. I think I only started watching them after it was like already like had been done for like a year or two. But I loved that idea of a kind of reality breaking web series where you technically, like, you know that this is like Lizzie Bennet, you know this is a fictional character, you know that this is the plot of Pride and Prejudice, but it's presented very cold, very straight. Like, this is presented as if this is a girl making vlogs, you know, and like also she happens to be Lizzie Bennet. And so I was kind of thinking, like, you know, something that like I remember once having to do is that corporate was like, you need to have a better website, you need to have a better social presence to this franchise that I used to work at. And that was like my job. My job was the social media marketing for, I did not get paid extra for it, for the branch. And that included also like doing, like planning and doing vlogs as an employee for the branch. Luckily, I did not end up recording the vlogs. I had that to like a different, like a colleague and coworker, because I was really busy because I was also the photographer for like all of the like new clothes that we got in, like the shoots and stuff for like the location, because it was a resale thing. So I was in charge of like all of the other marketing, and I was like, I do not have time to do these vlogs. I can plan them, just I need you to record them and like upload them. So I'm very grateful that those are not online with my face. But that I was kind of thinking, like, you know, to drum up publicity for this, like, you know, video store. What if I'm like this employee who has to do these vlogs, and that's how you experience the story told from the game. And then between each episode, I would release the behind the scenes episode that corresponds to the events that were depicted in that vlog unit. You know, that, I mean, the episodes are very small, like bite-sized, interesting, easy for people to get into, kind of like how the Lizzie Bennet Diaries episodes were typically, like on average, like maximum like 3 minutes long. And then you know, you would kind of follow the story of this employee whose goal is to like buy this franchise so that they can, you know, maybe help make it like a nostalgic like tourist attraction, like help save it. But also like they're running out of time and they might not make it. And also they have to deal with customers and they have to deal with all this stuff. So I kind of wanted it to be like as if I was recording like either in the break room or like in the video store. I think probably break room, because it has a little bit more of an intimate feeling and a little bit more I think real than like trying to like make the set of a video store in my you know, room, which I can't do that one until I have like more space. So I would need to, I think, live somewhere else to do that one, but that's okay because I can prep for it. And I can also do the like behind the scenes part literally whenever. I just need the block tower, because it also uses a block tower mechanic, which I thought was really great and I considered using for something like this. But it like depending on like you pull cards and like depending on which card it is, like with it'll correspond to like events listed in the game book. And then also sometimes you have to pull blocks from this tower. And if the tower crashes, that's it. Corporate pulls the plug, you know? You don't get any more time. And I think that mechanic is really, really, really cool. I really like when people use the block tower like mechanic for tension. I think it's extremely cool. Kaiju Don't Care About You also does that. Which Kaiju Don't Care About You is probably the most realistic AP that I have planned to do, because it's audio only, but it'll really give me a chance to grow with audio editing, and also it'll give me a chance to really explore sound design. I wanted it to kind of feel like the audio version of like Cloverfield. So I'm very excited about that one. I think so. I haven't played Dread yet, but I want to, because everybody always talks about it. It's one of those games where like I've heard it so much, I've heard people talk about it so much that I like sometimes I'm just like, oh yeah, I know that game, and then it's just like, you haven't played that game, you haven't played that game, everybody just talks about that game, you haven't played that game. But yeah, I haven't played it yet myself, but I really want to, because it seems like, I mean, people talk about it for a reason. I think it seems really fun. But yeah, I like it. I like that mechanic so much. I actually don't have a block tower. When I was testing Kaiju Don't Care About You, I stacked a bunch of my pens on top of each other, like pickup sticks. And I just did that instead, which is, pens are not pickup sticks. So it was a bit complicated, but kind of added more stress and tension. So in a way, worked too well. Functioned too close to the sun. What the fuck else could happen in a boiler room? So it can get really hot. So I think we're gonna act as if, oh my god, I literally made a note for myself that says boiler. It says boiler because the boiler. Okay. Can I boil my players alive? Well, in fairness, you won't be alive for long if you don't get out. I kind of the concept of boiling is reminding me of one of the recent episodes of Dun Dun Dun, which I love. And also after the stream, my best friend and I will be watching the newest episode, because once a week we watch the newest episode together. Like we text on our phones, we watch it, like we like count down like 3, 2, 1 to make sure that we're watching it at the same time. The boiler. Okay, what can the boiler do to you that the furnace isn't doing? Well, I do think heat is definitely a big, heat and decay is a big one. Mold could creep up. Ugh, that's so disgusting. But I'm gonna write mold. Actually, is it British spelling or something? Let me see. I'm just gonna write with the U. I think it's okay to write with just the O, but I can't recall. I try not to think about mold. I did a little oven cheese, like one of those like soft cheeses that you like bake in the oven and you like cut open. You can use like kind of like dip. I ate one of those yesterday, and I couldn't touch it. I couldn't touch it myself to like put it in, because I always forget that like it's not wax on the outside, obviously, because you couldn't put that in the oven. It's the cheese, which means it's the aged cheese, which means it is technically benign, like mold, which means it's fuzzy, and I cannot touch it. I cannot deal with it at all. Like it was just, I hate it. I had a horrible time. I love the cheese because it turns crispy and stuff, and it's fine. But I was like, disgusting. Yeah, that's kind of also the vision I had with the furnace when I was thinking about the brave little toaster and that scene with the furnace, where it's like, it's not even like, I think the furnace isn't even like angry or like trying to hurt anybody. I think he's just like suffering and like giving out his like death throes or something. And that scared me so bad as a kid. That scared me so bad. But I feel like I don't know. I grew up with a basement that was, I grew up in a house that was like built into a hill. So the basement was also just the way out into the garden, because it was the basement for the front of the house, but in the back it was the ground floor. If that makes sense. So I wasn't as afraid of my basement, because my basement had natural light. And like was frequently like used like in and out. Like you were constantly walking in and out of that like floor of the house. So luckily I did not grow up as afraid of it. But we did have a boiler room. Like it was really tiny and really tight. Actually, the boiler room could be pretty tight here. Could be a pretty tight space, actually. It doesn't have to be like the whole basement. You could have like because like sometimes a basement has like multiple rooms if it's like a basement floor. Or sometimes even if it only has one big storage space, it has, well, this has 3 rooms, this basement. So I think that it's quite clear that the basement here is more like a floor. I've also been noodling on whether or not, like, how much description I need to put into the rooms, because, well, we're running a little bit out of space. Like, in the way that I'm not trying to, like, make the page full to the edge, but I'm also not trying to add too many pages. I'll have to see afterwards to make sure that it, like, reads correctly, but I also think that it's okay, I think, if people imagine it themselves, imagine, like, the layout of the house themselves. I think that's fine. Especially since it doesn't matter. The house doesn't care. You're going to go where the dice tell you to go. Let's see. So the boiler. Maybe the boiler starts leaking. It might be a bit... No, it's not the same. It's not the same, because the risk with the boiler leaking boiling water is not drowning. It's cooking. So I was thinking, because in the indoor pool, there is a thing where the pool starts to fill with blood and it fills past the pool and it's like going to fill like the whole room and you need to get out or you're going to drown in this blood. So I was like, I don't want it to be like too similar, but also it'd be kind of funny if you literally just survived, not like, you barely managed to not like drown in blood, and now this boiling ass water thing is like really, I think you'd have a bad time. Which is great because you're not supposed to have a good time. You're supposed to have a fun and bad time in this house. Let's see. Boiler. No, because I don't know about that one because of the boiling water. What if steam shutout is better because not all of them are like immediate like bad. Like one of them is like just like dead bodies fall out of the wall around you. I think that makes better. The tank starts. That is better. Or not starts. I'm just gonna say spouts. It's not like a regular action. It'd be funny if you rolled that happening twice. You'd be like, and then you'd be like, okay, I dodged it, and then it happens again. So like in every room that you're in, you can roll for up to 2 like events because you also like react to them in between. You also have a different mechanic that you can do. So you come in, you can investigate for items. You can you roll like an event thing, then you have to like react, deal with it, and then you can choose if you want to move on to another room, like of your own volition, or if you want to roll again. Of course, if at any time you roll an event that says run, you don't get to roll again. You end the turn by getting out of that room. Even if you technically could roll and end up back in the room, you have to go through the door. And then the turn restarts. Basically the turn ends in that way. So it's okay if sometimes just like things that like startle you or like kind of create atmosphere end up happening instead of things, that can all immediately kill you. So I like that better. So that's scalding steam at you. Mold. Ooh, maybe mold. Mold spreads. Ugh, that's so disgusting. Across the ceiling. I also need to remember to always put periods at the end of my sentences because especially with game design, I like often forget to do that because I'm like, la 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 la, here's a little event. I'm like, okay, next event. I'm like, grammar, bitch, please use punctuation. Please use uniform punctuation because going through this at the end and trying to find all the periods would really annoy me. Literally, oh my God, it could be black mold. It could be black mold. Black mold. That would make me immediately start sneezing and like run out of the room and run out of the house, try to run out of the house screaming, as we well know. I cannot believe that for 6 months I had black mold poisoning. That is crazy. That is so... Oh, just want to grab that whole like corporation of landlords that owned that like crappy motel and made it into apartments and just want to like, I don't know, I want to like Lilo and Stitch. I want to like put them in my pickle jar and shake it. Like, you will be dealt with. Heinous. But I'm so glad that the good thing about that is that like it doesn't necessarily cause permanent damage, and that if you get out, like you get well from that like a lot really quickly, because like already like the first like week or so that I was like no longer in there, I felt a lot better and a lot like more clear, and I had like a lot less like brain fog and stuff, and now the beta blockers are taking care of the rest of it, brain fog wise for the most part. There's still like kind of tough days, but it's way less. Plus now I can eat stuff with sugar in it and I don't pass out. And I think that's neat because I like sugary shit sometimes. And it would be really nice to no longer feel like if I eat a donut, I'm going to fall on the floor. Which happened. That happened. Happened twice. Because I was like, surely it can't. Surely that was a fluke. Surely, the weird tingling feeling I got after eating that donut, that like gluten-free, like Korean donuts, it was like not like donut material. It was like, God, I forgot. It's like a different type of like dough. They're really cute. They look like little flowers. like cartoon flowers. They kind of look like cartoon flowers. But I ate one and I literally immediately felt my blood sugar spike and I like fell on the floor, like passed out. And then the next day, because I had them in the fridge because I had gotten two, the next day I was like, surely that won't happen again. It's fine. I need to eat something. And I ate and I fell on the floor and I passed out. I mostly thought it was just annoying because luckily it was like not in like danger. I mean, obviously you can hit your head, but luckily since my mattress was on the floor, I literally just fell on the mattress. It was fine. But yes, I am very grateful that now I've been able to eat like chocolate and stuff and I am like totally fine. Like I have a bag of like, this German candy. They're from Kinder. They're these tiny little chocolate eggs that are like filled with like milk cream and like hazelnut pieces. They're called like chocobons. They're my favorite. They've always been my favorite. I'm very happy to report that they're gluten-free, which means that I can continue to eat them. And I literally have like at least 3 a day. Because there's just like, they sell them in these big bags, you know? So like there's just a big bag in the fridge and I like eat like a couple. I just sometimes have to take it a little easy, but like I do have like one or 1 to 3 like every day because it just like, as long as they're here, I like them. Thank you. It makes me very happy. Every time I have one, I'm like, oh my God. Unfortunately, what happens though is that like I'm not always like, sometimes I like grab one and I put it in my pocket, which means that I'll have it like randomly throughout the day. But I'm not always near a trash can, so I put the wrapper in my pocket. But sometimes I forget that there's wrappers in my pocket, and then it literally like I sit down, and there's like the evidence like crunches in my in my pant pocket of like little like. It's been described to me as like the corpses of my victims, because I'm just constantly like, I'm constantly finding little like wrappers from this chocolate like all over the place in like all of my pockets. Who needs to have a child? Okay, good. That makes me feel better. Good. It's not just me. It just makes me, every time it happens, that makes me laugh. Good. Good. That means you had a sweet treat. Good. Good. What's your sweet treat of choice? I did get to try quite a variety of like American candies and stuff before I became too ill to eat them. And before I had like celiac. So I've been able to try like quite a few. And as a kid growing up, and I know this is like not as a popular of a choice, my favorite chocolate in the world when I was little was the Hershey's Cookies and Cream Bar, which I think I would probably still I think I would still like it, but I don't think it would be like my favorite anymore. If I tried it. I can't have it because Hershey's isn't gluten-free, but I remember it being very, very sweet, like hit the roof of your mouth sweet, which I don't really mind. I have way less of a sweet tooth now than I used to. But I think I still have kind of a respectable sweet tooth. What else can happen to you in this goddamn boiler room? As you can see also through this, I have been like bouncing around as inspiration strikes me. Had no inspiration for the torture chamber. Still not entirely sure I'm going to keep that room the torture chamber. Really not sure about that one because it feels quite dire, but also like it's not active. It's not an active torture chamber technically, so you could still like poke around and look at it. I mean, people look at like medieval torture chambers like recreated in like museums and stuff. So it's kind of the same. Ooh, nice. Good. It's good to have at least a bag of sweet treat available for when you just need something quick. I like Snickers. I like Twix. I used to have a lot of Twix in high school. Because they were just like the one candy that was always in stock at the like kiosk. So I used to have a lot of them. Well, they also had Snickers as well, but not as often. I had a fuck ton of Twix. Let's see. Living room I also have not had that much, but I do have a little like chat interaction here. Indoor pool, clearly very inspiring to me. Lots of things that honestly, we could finish the indoor pool and then go back to the boiler room because, we've got about halfway to go, I think, for the indoor pool. You know, it's a little hard not to be bogged down by the concept of drowning, but where am I? Here we go. So we've got hot steam begins to fill the room, making it hard to see, hard to breathe, which is inspired by the fact that I have POTS, which explains finally after, how old am I, 29 years, why I can't be in saunas because I stopped being able to breathe. And while the exact mechanics of that were not fully explained to me, it was explained to me by my doctor that that is a POTS thing. Um, and that I can't go in there. Christmas jar, I love those. Oh, I miss those. Luckily there's a gluten-free food like delivery website because I don't really there's like the grocery stores don't really have a lot of gluten-free stuff. Here in Germany, it's more of something you have to order online, grocery wise. But they have some Christmas chocolates, so hopefully I will be able to get some in time for like the Christmas season because I always like in the Christmas season to have like a bowl of them somewhere so you could just like take one or something when you need one. Honestly, I don't think you're missing anything, but I can't really speak to it as I haven't been able to be in one for longer than a couple seconds before I've been like asthmically wheezing and like stumbling out and not able to like breathe. Um, I'm already grateful that the beta blockers allow me to have hot showers again. Um, but I still wouldn't. I don't think I'd still wouldn't be able to handle like a sauna. Honestly, also, I fear the Reaper of foot fungus. I'll say it. I fear the Reaper of foot fungus of shared communal like bathing spaces. But I have OCD and maybe am not like a compass for these kinds of thoughts. The pool starts to fill with blood, doesn't stop when the pool's full. Maybe that should be the thing of like, I think I'll make it like fills rapidly. So that it's like, like you can't just outrun it and it's still slowly filling like at normal pool speed. Rapidly fill with blood. Then stop when the pool is full. Maybe I will also put maybe that like it's coming from the walls. Okay, might have to edit the flavor text on that one a little bit, but I kind of like the concept of like the pool starts to rapidly fill with blood. In fact, the blood is pouring in from the walls, the ceiling, not even stopping when the pool is quickly filled. Run. Okay, I think that might be good because you don't want to drown in blood. You also don't want to be like totally covered in blood. But to see the vision of like, oh my god, I would love to make a movie that is just like through the lens of like my like stream like my phone in my hand. And I can go front back camera, but like that's it. And I am in this house and doing these things and like having these effects. Like I see the vision, and the great thing is I have, I don't know, the delusion or the belief in myself that I could do this by myself. Which, to be fair, it's because I'm aware of like all the technical things involved in like making a like indie film. And so like I feel like I could do it because I'm not afraid of learning whatever I need to learn to do this shit by myself. I would, however, still need money for like effect, the lights, time on a set and in place. Although I'm not above, which the dream is, if I have my own apartment, is that I don't have like an office per se, entirely. Because I work like depending on the day and what room I'm like better in. So I would like to have small desks in like just, maybe one in the bedroom, one in the living room, one near the kitchen or something. And then in the actual office, mostly just use it as I need to for recording or filming or shoots, which means that it'll mostly need to be empty / like, with stuff you can move around. Literally, you see blood in the pool, blood on the ceiling, you gotta go. Especially because if it's kind of dark, you might not immediately clock if it's just in the pool. But I do think you'll notice that, first of all, ceiling shouldn't be wet. And second of all, I think that's red. I think that's red. Plus, it'll drip down on you, potentially. And I am learning Blender. So I will be able to... I just don't want to make a movie that's like The last thing I want is to make a movie that is primarily like, even if I made it all myself, CGI. You know, I love a practical effect. I mean, it's not like it would all be CGI. I would have to cover myself in fake blood. But like, God, the continuity makeup on that shit would drive me batshit. You know, one must do what one must do. But whew, I would do it. I would. So it's something for me to continue to noodle on how to really do and execute. I just think, even if it takes years and years of me working on it, I just think it would be cool. I would have to make sure that it's not shot over years and years, because the last thing we need is for me to, although it would also be creepy in a different way, is for me to start the movie looking like I look now, and then at the end have several gray hairs that are like visible. That might not be like the vibe. Although it would also, you know, it would fit with the stress of being in a haunted house that's like really trippy and won't let you like walk around. Hi. I like waved even though I'm not using camera today. Anyway, feel waved at. But yeah, I got really like, there's this horror movie. I think it's a horror movie. It might have been an episode of something that I didn't watch, but I think it's a horror movie where like these girls are like in this pool, and I don't know if it's a prank or if it's like an accident, but like the pool, like it's like a public pool or like a school pool, and the electronic like covering of the pool like locks them in to the pool, you know, and now they're like at threat of like getting, you know, stuck, like drowning eventually. There's no way to like get out or whatever. And I don't remember if that's like an episode I saw like a teaser for, or if I just saw the trailer for that movie. I certainly didn't see whatever it actually is, because I would not be able to watch that. I first of all, I was a little bored by the trailer's execution. And okay, yeah, I think it was a Lifetime movie, because it wasn't like a theater movie. I think. Hi, welcome. I think it was like a Lifetime movie, but I was kind of inspired by the concept of being like stuck in a pool, and then with a haunted house, I was kind of interested in the idea of kind of ghost water. I don't know, you know, like what if you get dragged into a pool and the pool is empty, but you're still drowning? You know, I thought that for a ghost house, I thought that would be great. Honestly, yeah, it does sound a little bit like but you're sitting there and you took the ladder. I've never done that though. I haven't been playing Sims for long. I started playing Sims in, I believe, August, for the first time. And was it August? Was it? When was it? I haven't been playing Sims for long. I think August of last year. That's why. Okay. So I've been playing Sims for about like a year and a half. I was never allowed to play Sims as a kid, so I haven't played it that long. But I have not yet drowned a Sim. I have definitely had Sims murder Sims. I've done that. I'm not unfamiliar with the Grim Reaper. I also hit on the Grim Reaper immediately. Because why not? But I liked the idea. So I'm like, I haven't done anything in this one, I think, yet fully where like you feel like you're drowning, but there's no water. But I think the visual in a film would also be incredible. Of like, you know, like usually if you get like a film, like if you get like a shot underwater of somebody like, you know, like struggling and they're like, you know, like drowning or struggling to like go up, is you see it through the water, and then people usually zoom out and you get to see this like full depth shot, and it looks really beautiful. I think that would look really incredible in an empty pool with just air. I think it would look so cool. Ideas beyond my skill levels in Blender. But I think it would look really cool. So I was kind of inspired by like these kinds of visuals and thoughts. That's why there's so much stuff already written for the indoor pool section of the game. Hi. How's everybody doing? For me, it's very early in the morning. I think for everybody watching, it's probably quite late at night or like late evening. I don't know what's late at night for people anymore, because I go to bed at 8 p.m. so that because I get up at 5. So I got up today and I immediately went there. So what we're making here is we're working on a new TTRPG, which is, I can zoom out a little bit maybe here. So we're working on a new TTRPG because I'm Cutest Pursuit Games. Nice. So it's not that bad. Let's see. So it's Cutest Pursuit Games. That's me. That's my game page. As you can see, like also on the bottom. I don't know why I'm pointing. You literally can't see me. I don't have my camera on today. But at the corner of the thing, it says cutestpursuit.h.io. That's where I host the games that I design. And I am a game writer, game designer, game dev, and I'm writing a game that was supposed to be a mini game for a YouTube video, which will be coming out soon. But I was supposed to be inspired by 3 random, like I was supposed to kind of like roll the dice on 3 of my favorite movies, see which ones get selected, and then write 3 micro TTRPGs, so tabletop role-playing games based on those 3 movies or inspired by those 3 movies. They don't have to be like actual adaptations of the movie, just have to be inspired by it. And micro TTRPGs are like 1 to like maximum 5 pages, typically. And I got really into this one, and this one is currently 23 pages. So the movies that were selected were quite a good variety. It was Gone in 60 Seconds, the Nicolas Cage, the remake from the 2000s. Although I don't feel bad about that one being a remake because it was made by the person who's doing that. The website is on itch. I just decorated it. But the itch page is it's kind of like if you have a Blue Sky account and technically your account is like a domain. That's kind of how itch works, is you can host the games that you've designed. But I make all of the games myself, and you get to decorate, the website a bit yourself, with some very basic like hex code selections and stuff. Or you can design like your background if you would like to, make custom backgrounds for each. And you get to design the host page for each game itself as well. So one of the games was Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, which also they're going to be making games. So you can see the cover if you want to of Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School's one, because it's called, let's see, 1 second. Adjust it back to the middle. It's called Girl, If You Do Not Move. So help me God. I'll move this down slightly. It's called Faster Ace Kill Kill. Which is obviously based on Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, and also on the fact that Ace is a position you can play in volleyball. So it's kind of like a rank you can have in the team. So that is what that game is inspired by, because I decided to make a monster volleyball game for that one. And this game, A Dark and Stormy Broadcast, they should have made it into a show. Oh, I would have watched it. I would have watched the fuck out of it. Web dev is cool. The last game, this game, is inspired by Halloween Resurrection, which is the Halloween movie from Rick Rosenthal from, I think, 2002, that has Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks in it. Although Tyra Banks is barely in it, but Busta Rhymes is in it, and he's fucking fantastic in that movie. I love him in that movie, like, a lot. I love that movie so much, because also, like, I tend, a lot of my favorite movies I love because of their base concept or because of their potential, even if, like, as a product of their time they're a bit limited, which is kind of how I feel about Halloween Resurrection. And so I created this game where I brought us into the modern era, and it's a solo game, so you can play it by yourself. It has, I'm very proud, a lot of replayability, which is really important to me when I'm designing, especially solo games, because with solo games that's harder. You can't rely on the fact that you'll have the creativity of somebody jamming the game to, help make it replayable. So in this one, you really have to make it all in the game design, which is like a cool challenge and very fun to me. In this one, you are offered a life-changing amount of money to spend the night until dawn in a massively well-known, like, haunted house place where, like, a mass killer killed a ton of people, but what people don't know is that the house definitely also killed a ton of people. Is the mass killer still, like, he was never caught, he was never found, his body was never found, unclear if he's dead or alive. Honestly, while you're in the house, it's unclear if he's dead or alive, which I think is great because it gives you a bit of ambiguity to play with. But also the house is very much alive and evil. Very much 2000s remake House on Haunted Hill, little bit original 50s House on Haunted Hill. The premise also of, like, of course, the House of Haunted Hill is the premise that you are locked in this potentially haunted house with Vincent Price. and you have to survive the night, and then he will give you like, I think in that one he gives you like $1,000 or something, or like $10,000, which obviously it's the 50s, so like that means a bit different. And in the remake it's $1 million / technically it's a total of $5 million because there's 5 guests, and if some of them die, the rest is redistributed to the other survivors. So technically a little bit, possibly more than $1 million per head is like on play for the remake of House on Haunted Hill. So it's kind of the vibe here. It's a life-changing amount of money. And you're a streamer, you're a YouTuber, and you are not supposed to just spend the night there. You are supposed to live stream the whole thing, like from your phone. So the whole thing is through the lens of one hand is never free because one hand is holding your phone, or like holding your selfie stick with your phone, whatever. And me too. I really, honestly, I'm sure I have much to say that is not super positive about the remake of House on Haunted Hill. But I do really like that, and I like how it handled the survivors, and I like the storyline of why the house is evil. I don't like the storyline itself. I just like that they're like, that was so awful that the house is evil, and I was like, that is so real because that was evil. I don't love a mental hospital trope in horror, but I do feel, as far as it can go, that they handled appropriately, that it's like, it's horror, it's horrific, it's not supposed to be normal or cool or okay. You're supposed to look at it and be like, what the fuck, so I love-hate relationship with the trope, and the only love really is because of the execution of House on Haunted Hill remake. Kind of helps redeem the trope a little bit for what it could be potentially. So in this game, you are going through this haunted house, and you can choose if you come into it more on the supernatural or more on the side of like logic, cynicism, and that'll also affect your gameplay. And because you'll have those two sides, smarts and scream, and depending on what you choose to do or what actions you choose to go through, if you fail in those actions, so if you choose to be more cynical and you choose to roll something in the category of smarts, you choose not to lean into the horror genre. You choose to be practical or pragmatic. You try to look for a circuit breaker. You try to look for a light switch. You try to be, calm and rational. But if you fail, then you get a point on the scream side. If you fail enough times on the smart side, because you keep trying the smart side, so the chances of you failing on the smart side are higher, you're going to end up racking up points in scream. If you rack up 10 points in scream, you lose the game. Vice versa, if you fail scream rolls, stuff that leans into the horror genre, leans into the supernatural, you gain smarts points. If you get 10 smarts points, you're too boring. Your stream isn't going to work anymore. Like, nobody's going to be watching you anymore. You won't get any money. The house spits you out because your soul is like inaccessible to get. So like, you live, but at what cost? You're like, you're maybe a little fucked up from this. You don't get any money, and nobody's going to watch you anymore because you did this viral shitty stream. So like, you don't win. On the other hand, if you get 10 scream, you absolutely lose your mind. This house consumes your soul, consumes you. You're never seen again. Obviously also a loss. So you want to get through the set amount of turns that you have without maxing out either stat, so that you don't go crazy, don't get spit out by the house, don't get killed. Also very important, because that can happen. And then if you survive until sunlight and you have your sanity and your wits about you and you're alive, then you get the money, and you won, and you survived the house. I'm really looking forward to writing the epilogue parts. Very much looking forward to that. But yeah, I love this game so much. I love the mechanics of this game. I really look forward to people reading it. I talked about it on Brown Noise. Like, I gushed about this game on Brown Noise for like, I think 10 minutes in the last episode of Brown Noise, where it's just 10 minutes of me waxing poetic about these games. I do also talk about the other 2 games that I'm going to be doing, because the volleyball game for Ghoul School is called Faster Ace Kill Kill, and the one for Gone in 60 Seconds is called One Last Sting. Honestly, I would be very upset about the house spitting me out more. That's true. Because literally, you don't even want my soul? That's crazy. It's rude. Should be so lucky as to consume my soul. But yeah, I get that. I get that. Let's see. Okay, we've got hot steam making hard to see. We've got some that was also playing into the idea of drowning, but there's nothing there. There's nobody drowning there. But you hear panic splashes and screams for help, but the pool is empty. foot gets tangled in the rope to the pool cover. That's inspired by that that movie. The rope tries to drag you into the gaping pool drain. That's inspired by, if I remember correctly, by Choke, by Chuck Palahniuk. I do think that I say his name wrong at least 50% of the time that I say his last name. But it's because somebody corrects me and then I'm like, okay, I got it. But then I can't remember if the way that they corrected me is the way that I say it. Like, I can't remember which way is the way I say it and the way that I was corrected. And then I get like confused again. I get a lot of those little things mixed up. I have two options for something. It really is a 50-50 chance if I'm going to remember correctly which direction I have to go in. Bane in my existence, the word epitome, because I had only ever read it as a teenager. I'd read it and I knew it and I knew how to use it, but I had never heard it out loud. And so the first time I said epitome. Oof. Technically, by the rules of English pronunciation, it makes sense that I would think that it was pronounced that way. But I was in high school, which means that nobody has any mercy on you, which means that one of my friends was immediately like, do you mean epitome? And then like lost her mind laughing. So I very much remember how to say epitome, but every time I look at it, I have like a little moment of hesitation of like, oh God, is it? No, it's not the rule. It's the exception, so it's epitome. Because it has a different etymology. But every time. I remember, it sucks. I remember that every time. Your reflection in the pool moves on its own? That's really cool. That's really, really cool. No, I think suddenly. I'm gonna throw a pool with a U. I don't know what the hell I was gonna do with that. I wonder if it's reflection or if you see yourself below the surface. Like 3D. Ooh, that's creepy. That's gross. How disturbing would it be? That's not the right question. The answer is very. What if you look too long, you see yourself drown? But like as if it couldn't possibly break through. Like it's hammering against the surface like it's glass. Ooh. Because also, maybe you could, if you try to reach in to dispel it, if you have a success, like somebody could be like, like you could think like, okay, in a success, you just dispel the image in the water. Maybe you touch it, there's not even any water there. That's up to people's creativity. But if you fail, I feel like the logical conclusion a lot of people would get to is that it's going to try and pull you in and drown you. Ooh, icky. I like it. That's so cool. Yeah, like that foreshadowing thing where you saw yourself drowning, but if you try to go into it and you fail, it like actually tries to drown you. You know, that could be the run event instead. That way you could have that like more, that feeling. Although the replayability is a little bit better with the Pool of Blood. I think that the replayability of that would be better, because in this one technically we would have to assume that if this happened to you again that you would walk towards the pool again and look at it again. Although, to be fair, a lot of people are curious, and I feel like if they were like, the first time I was here I saw myself drowning, I wonder what will happen this time, and I do feel a lot of people think that way. And I can't really feel any superiority over that, because I've been in the ER 3 times because I couldn't see if a tea had an ingredient I was fatally allergic to, and I decided in the moment to sniff it to see. And then I had to go to the ER. So, and more than once, exactly that process. So I don't really have any high ground to stand on if somebody like saw themselves drowning and then almost drowned, and then they went back to the same exact pool and did it again. I see how that could happen to someone. I'm not saying that would happen to me, because I'm very absolutely not about that shit with water, but like, I'm a really good swimmer, but like, it's a ghost house. I don't really think my ability to swim matters that much anymore. If the house has decided I'm gonna drown. But yeah, that's happened to me, and therefore I feel it would technically be possible. Let's see. Able to break through as a voice of predicted glass as you watch yourself drown. Yourself or something that looks like you. That would be insane to film. That would be so to film. Gag. I don't know if that I would want to film that though. I don't really like I don't like the filming stunts in like water. Absolutely not. I think I brought it up like I went upset. You want to see me drown again? Honestly, that I would get that. I think it wouldn't even be like, I'm not going to show you me drowning again. I will literally just grab you. I'm going to break through this water, grab you, and pull you in. I don't want to do this shit again. You drown. That, honestly, I wouldn't put it past someone to play this, have that happen, and be like, actually, speedrun that shit. Let's start fighting for our life. I think that it's okay to not have it be a run thing, because I think it's already just really disturbing, but technically nothing has happened to you if you don't touch it. But also, you know, you could touch it and then like fuck up, because like if your breath goes, like all of these things, you know, if you try to react to them in a way and it fails, I feel they all have a lot of branches you can come up with from them of like how badly it can go. And then already, if I went in there and I rolled a 2 and just hot steam fills the room, I'm already having a horrible time gasping and wheezing. So anything else that could happen to me, can you imagine you roll like a 2-3 combo of like you come into the indoor pool and hot steam starts to fill it. It's hard to see. It's kind of hard for you to breathe. And then you hear panicked splashes and screams for help. You wouldn't be able to see that the pool is empty. Yeah, it would be like that scene in Ghoul School where he's replaced by the mirror monster. That is true. It's a nice little Easter egg to know. It would be like that. But like, imagine you have that and like, but because you had the 2 event first, you can't see that the pool is empty. I mean, you might try to look for it, like hit a fail or a failure with a consequence or something, or like success with a consequence. Oh my God, imagine you roll success with a consequence being like, you want to investigate. And it's like, okay, you investigated, but you fell into the empty pool. You're not doing well, you know? And now you're confused and you're scared and you can't breathe that well and you have to figure out, like, you have to find the fucking ladder maybe. You have to try to get out of this pool. You have to get out of this room. You know? Ooh. My God. What a great... Oh, that could happen. That's so cool. Incredible. Fantastic. Already, though, this chart is too long for the page, so I will have to reformat that one. Oh, man. Does that mean I'm going to have to make everything a fucking font point smaller? How does it look if it's a font point smaller? Let me see. Oh, it's fine. That's fine. Just have to do that for fucking everything now. Because I want it to be uniform. Plus, I don't anticipate the pages on the others like having less necessarily. So it would be better to just make it smaller everywhere. Plus, it's just like one tick. So I think it's fine to have that way. Well, the gameplay, Well, I don't think the other stuff, but I think that these charts should be uniform. Okay. Which, one more, boom. Oh, one more. I can't count. Yeah, that's a different table. Tight. All right. Well, we made some very good progress on the concepts. I feel like we've got some great variety going with the pool, and I feel like that will help me fill the rest of them out. But it is now 7 in the morning for me. I am going to have to go because I should have some sort of breakfast before I get too in the flow and then like forget to eat for hours, as can happen to anyone. So I'm going to head out. Also in about 30 minutes, I've got to watch Dun 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 with my best friend. But it was so nice. It was so nice to be able to stream, and I'm so glad that it like worked as well. I was very nervous about using this software. I'm not entirely sure how streams get saved in YouTube, so I'll have to go check that out now after I grab some food. But the good news is, and I know how they work on Twitch, since we're also streaming on Twitch, I can definitely export to YouTube if it doesn't export successfully on its own. So that should be fine. And then hopefully everybody will watch the VOD and listen and co-work as they need to, listening to the dulcet tones of my voice. Yes, you should definitely also go to bed. It is probably getting quite late. I know that my best friend's on the East Coast, and our like time to watch the new episode of Dun 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 is at 1:30 his time. So you should definitely go to sleep because it's probably not late. So yes, thank you so much for hanging out. It was so nice to see you again. It was so nice to see everybody again. And I look forward to being able to stream like this again, hopefully more often. I'm not sure how many more streams of this particular game there'll be. Oh, midnight. Okay, that's not too bad, but it's a bit late. I get that. I say that like if being awake at midnight now wouldn't like totally devastate me. Big hug and heart emoji back, and I will see everybody next time. Possibly Monday. We'll see. Possibly Monday, same time. I'm not sure. Monday might be a little later. We'll see. I'm not trying to stream when it's like fucking, 4 in the morning for everybody.